Arts and culture enrich our lives in so many ways. We're celebrating several anniversaries of cultural projects, including public art in Durango and a Little Red Schoolhouse-turned art center in Greenwood Village. Through these stories and more, we'll take a look at the state's vibrant cultural scene on this edition of Connected Colorado. Hi, I'm Wendy Brockman here in Lone Tree with some public art treasures. We'll learn more about this city's great art scene as we go. But first, Durango's Public Art Commission is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. A citizen-based idea of forming an organization to promote placement of art pieces in public has grown to a collection of more than 30 artworks, with a value into 7 figures.
Durango is a community surrounded by beauty. We have the mountains, which play host to miles of hiking and biking trails. The Animas River cuts a corridor through our community and is bordered by the Animas River Trail. Durango's quaint downtown boasts some beautiful historic buildings and is enjoyed by locals and visitors year-round. The historic Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad whisks riders from downtown through the wilderness to the beauty of nearby Silverton. Durango is the gateway to other beautiful nearby attractions like Mesa Verde National Park and Durango Mountain Resort. All this beauty is celebrated in part through art, public art, much of it capturing the theme that makes Durango what it is. Much of this art was non-existent a mere 10 years ago, when the Durango Public Art Commission was founded. Durango's Public Art Commission was actually preceded by a Public Art Committee. The committee was formed in 1997 by myself as an owner of an art gallery and outdoor sculpture garden, a business partner, Chiara Amoroso, Brian Wagner, the director of the Durango Art Center, and Phyllis Alden, a patron of the arts. Together, we felt that public art would enhance Durango's cultural identity, add to our quality of life, and help establish Durango as an art destination. Through the generosity of Phyllis and the efforts of the committee, multiple works of art were placed throughout downtown, either donated, on loan, or purchased by the city. Among these were several significant bronze pieces: Puck and Mudra by Elizabeth McQueen, My Children by Alan Hauser, and Winnie and Friends by Joyce Parkerson, all located in the downtown where they're enjoyed by visitors and locals alike. It was the need to manage this expanding collection that led Durango City Council to create the Public Art Commission in 2004. Over the past decade, the Commission has developed a master plan to locate art along the Animas River Trail, in parks, at the library, and in other city-owned buildings. Many of our call to artists have resulted in works of art that help tell the story of what Durango is all about. For example, along the river trail, you'll find the Trout Wall. This collaboration of local artists and a group of area school children depicts the 3 types of native trout found in the Animas River and celebrates the life and recreation the river provides us. Winnie and Friends, which I mentioned earlier, is a set of 3 bronze horses representing our Western heritage, and it's one of the most endearing and photographed places of art in the community. Situated in Durango's Santa Rita Park is the large bronze statue, Double Jack, representing the mining heritage of our area. Brian Sarin's piece titled Past, Present, and Future in front of City Hall was commissioned in honor of the 125th anniversary of Durango's founding. This contemporary piece has imagery of mountains and a large wheel which could represent a wagon, train, or bicycle wheel, as well as the letter C for Colorado. A new roundabout in Durango has proven to be the perfect home for endurance. created by Joshua Wiener in 2012 to commemorate Durango's hosting the start of the Pro Cycling Challenge. This piece is comprised of 5 cyclists, including one woman, who seem to jockey for position as motorists navigate the roundabout. The piece celebrates cycling, outdoor sports, and the general lifestyle of our area. Over the decade, Durango's collection has grown to 31 pieces, valued at just over $1 million. Almost 65% has been donated, including the original bronzes loaned to the city in the early 1990s. Among the donated pieces, the Life Wall, a creation of Willa Shallot and Dean Erickson, was donated by Phyllis Alden. It's one of the many works of art that grace Durango's new library, which opened in 2007. Life Wall is comprised of 40 life masks in bronze, installed along a fence off the library patio as well as inside. The large stairwell in the library is home to the card catalog by Jay Dugan, which combines a historical flavor in a very contemporary approach, one of my favorite pieces. Other library art pieces include Turbo Books, which was placed in the reception area, and Guardians, located upstairs outside the library's quiet reading room. Outside the library, in a botanical garden, is Train Goes Round and Round, a youth art on loan piece by local high school students, which can be enjoyed from the river trail as well as those passing by on the Durango-Silverton train. Numerous other art on loan pieces grace the parks throughout the city. They are on display for 2 years and are offered for sale, after which time they are replaced by newly selected works of art. One of the most recent pieces of donated art is a sculpture named Living Wind by Jennifer Cannon and is donated by Walt Deere. Living Wind was placed on permanent display at Durango's Transit Center. There is little doubt public art enhances our quality of life. It makes the places we live, work, and play more welcoming and beautiful. In Durango, it's part of our identity, history, and cultural heritage. Public art contributes to our economic base. There is now a self-guided art tour app available for visitors and locals alike. Incorporating visual art into our communal spaces fosters our sense of community and challenges us to engage in a meaningful way. We envision a community where art is expected.
In Aurora, an historic trolley trailer was found in an abandoned farmhouse and lovingly restored. Now Aurora's History Museum is undergoing an expansion to house the treasure. Let's take a look.
Well, I think he would say, good job. You better.
Ruth Fountain-Ide thinks her late husband, former Museum Foundation president Bob Ide, would be pretty impressed by Trolley Trailer 610.
I think he would be thrilled to death to see it at this point even.
The trolley trailer, built in the early 1900s, has been almost completely restored, but it hasn't been easy.
The son, William Perrott, said, "Oh, well, there's a trolley inside there," and the police officer was surprised when he walked in the door, and sure enough, sitting in the middle of the house was a trolley.
This is what it looked like shortly after an Aurora police officer discovered it during a vandalism call at an abandoned farmhouse in 2006. Dr. Edwin Perrott bought the trolley trailer from the Denver Tramway Company 50 years earlier and actually built his house around it. The trolley trailer served as his master bedroom.
It was quite a find. It was one of those things that you never expect to find, especially in the middle of a house.
Jennifer Kuhner is the director of the Aurora History Museum. She says Dr. Perrott's son agreed to let the city have the trolley trailer if they could figure out how to remove it. And thanks to the generous donations of time and equipment from several local companies, they did. And then, 610 got a police escort to begin its restoration.
The most amazing thing, I think, for the trolley is the creativity that the volunteers used in actually putting things back together and the amount of work that this took. It was 4,500 hours of volunteer time, which, equates to probably close to $100,000 of labor that was all given to us.
A group of 15 volunteers contributed more than 4,000 hours of their time and talents to the project over 3 years. They were led by the late Bob Ide, as well as Maury Miller, a carpenter and woodworking teacher for Aurora Public Schools, and Cliff Lushbaugh, a local expert on historic restoration.
When the trolley business came about, he said, well, you could volunteer for the trolley. And I said, well, sure, I'll volunteer for the trolley. See all those screws? I think there's 3,000 of them. We cleaned the paint, many coats of paint, off the interior of this whole vehicle, and they removed every one of those screws, and I cleaned a good portion of those screws. My fingernails still have not recovered from all of that.
Getting all those brass screws nice and shiny was only part of the fun.
I have no idea how many coats of paint they scraped off on the inside of this critter. They ended up blasting the whole interior of this thing with cornmeal. And the cornmeal wasn't as harsh as some of the other things that they would have used, like sandblasting. The first day that they used the cornmeal, Bob came home and he knocked at the garage door, and I thought, I wonder who that is. And I opened the door, and he stood there covered with cornmeal dust that he hadn't been able to shake off out here. And his two eyes were just, like Bugs Bunny eyes or something like that. I was just dumbfounded, and I said, but you can't come in like that.
Ruth is no stranger to lending her time and efforts to a good cause. She's volunteered for the city in one way or another for more than 50 years, and she's a former Aurora City Councilwoman.
As a darn surprise.
Fittingly, Trolley Trailer 610 will be put on display at the museum in the new Ruth Fountain edition, which is breaking ground this week.
I could not believe it. I was so surprised.
Ruth served on the city council that approved the funding to create the Aurora History Museum, and she's a past president of the Aurora Historical Society. It's been an amazing journey for her and for Trolley Trailer 610.
Been a long road, but we're very excited to get it done.
For Aurora News Weekly, I'm Yasmin Marino.
And here with me now is Katie Maltese with the Lone Tree Art Center, one of the state's newest art centers. It opened in 2011, yes?
Yes.
Tell me about this great art center.
Yeah, well, like you said, we opened just a couple of years ago, so we've just finished our third season. We do over 100 professional performances a year, everything from kids shows like Fancy Nancy to senior productions. We have a series called Arts in the Afternoon that caters to folks that have time to be doing things in the afternoon. And then we do main stage performances, everything from touring groups like a Beatles tribute band to full-scale productions. We just finished Big River this spring. That was a beautiful production directed by Randy Myler that was about Huck Finn.
So it's really something for all ages.
Exactly. Yeah, we really try to serve every portion of the population. We have stuff for little tiny kids before they even enter preschool, all the way up to adults and the senior population.
That's great. Tell me about some of the art shows.
Yeah, so we do have a pretty robust visual art schedule here. We have outdoor sculptures that are a part of the Douglas County Art Encounters, and then indoors, our entire facility really serves as a gallery space. So most of the year we'll have different gallery exhibitions that are up, whether it's one artist that we're showcasing or the Lone Tree Photo Show happens here, as well as the Lone Tree Art Exhibition. And so those showcase all kinds of Colorado artists and are available for the public.
It sounds amazing. Where can people go if they want to get more information?
Yeah, so our website is probably the best place for that, and our website is just lonetreeartscenter.org.
Katie, thank you so much for having us.
Thanks so much for coming.
And now let's take a look at a very cool sculpture trail in Broomfield.
Today we're taking a walk in the art at the newly installed Broomfield Sculpture Trail, which is located in Broomfield County Commons Park. This is a really unique trail. It's the first one in Broomfield that is comprised of sculptures. And we have a diverse collection of sculptures from artists all over the world. and using a variety of mediums.
Yeah, Broomfield's pretty cool. You know, they get it. I mean, it's just art and culture, and it's all a part of the fabric.
So a walk in the art is a great combination of getting your cultural fix for the day, as well as getting outdoors and doing something healthy. So we take a walk, it usually takes about 45 minutes, and we go from piece to piece and we talk about the artist, we talk about the materials used, and we talk about the public art program in Broomfield, how the process works, how the pieces are funded, and then we just answer questions. And sometimes they're specific to the artist, sometimes it's more about the process.
Oh, it's a great walk for families. I have a couple kids with me now, and being able to interact with the art and take pictures along the different sculptures are wonderful. It's awesome.
This artist is originally from Africa,
And his name is Nnamdi Okonkwo,
and this is called Damsel. And it's a bronze, and of course, everybody fell in love with it. It's perfect for children to sit on. It makes a great photographic opportunity. So this artist is Sky Caraselli. Her and her mom actually have a studio together, and they produce these amazing bronzes. This is called Zenith. She was a Broomfield Choice winner, and the committee just felt like she'd be perfect. And what a great place to have her. So this piece is called Peace, and the artist is Lori Acott. It's kind of made to look like bronze, but it's brushed aluminum. One thing you'll notice are these really nice borders, and soon we'll have flowers around the art as well. So this is also one of Lori Acott's pieces, and this is called Who Rescued Who? You know, the Public Art Committee thought, what a perfect place for it to be, you know, right by the dog park. But again, you know, they're whimsical, it's very approachable art. I think it kind of speaks to everybody. Just a lovely piece. This piece over here is kind of a crown jewel piece for us. It's very large. You can see it from all over the area. It was our last piece to be installed. The artist is Boris Kramer. It's called Dancing Family. I love the way he patinaed the piece. It's really gorgeous, very fun, very whimsical. Another great place for a family photo.
We've seen a growing interest in the public art program from the Broomfield community. We're seeing more people attend our events like Walks in the Art. We saw a big increase last year in our participation in the Broomfield Choice Awards. It's been really rewarding to see how this program has grown on the community.
She said she felt like Broomfield did the best job of marketing and promoting the artists and their work. And so that's a great reputation. You know, we want to maintain that reputation.
As the Cultural Affairs Manager of Broomfield, I really do feel like I'm in charge of all things fun. It makes a difference in people's lives. They really do enjoy being able to be outside and be active and enjoy the culture around them.
Next time you're flying out of DIA, check out some of the great public artwork there, right?
Denver International Airport serves as a gateway to other worlds in more ways than one.
We are one of the largest public art collections in one location in the country.
You see it in the landscape, touch it in the architecture, and feel it through the media.
And it's exhibitions like these where passengers on the move can take home a piece that moves them.
This gives me an opportunity to view art when I otherwise would not have the opportunity to do it.
Criminal defense attorney Caroline Stapleton works out of her Longmont home.
I do have a busy schedule like most people. Caroline Stapleton.
But on a recent trip through DIA,
I saw some paintings displayed behind some panels of glass.
Well, I was just happy to have it shown to so many people.
I saw the piece and I thought, I love it, and I had to have it.
I was speechless. I just couldn't believe it.
I think it really is a service to Denver travelers.
We hope to offer an experience, a nice quiet respite up here on A mezzanine, B mezzanine, and then on Concourse C on the concourse level.
Seasoned and emerging artists alike inspire even the unsuspecting.
You know, in the mainstream art world, there's often not a lot of artists of color who are represented.
We have people who have never been in a gallery buying.
People from all over the world are seeing your art.
Art brings an element every pose to guests from around the globe.
Helping ease their time here in an airport that is one of the 5th largest airports in the country. It's extremely busy.
Puts you in a space where you can calm down.
And looking at art is such a diversion that takes your mind off of some of the less pleasant things about going through an airport.
People are not dealing with a high-pressure salesperson. They're just experiencing the art all on their own.
In a foundation of inspiration,
Just phenomenal.
lies a stage of chance.
What an amazing opportunity.
Exhibits are showcased in these locations.
Hi, do you have any art brochures?
Visit an information booth for a brochure or go to flydenver.com/art.
For creative reuse of a building, how about turning an historic schoolhouse into a center for the arts? That's what Greenwood Village did.
Hello, I'm Mayor Ron Murkowski and welcome to Village Showcase. This little red brick schoolhouse known as the Curtis Arts and Humanities Center has been a focal point in our community for 100 years. Today is a very special day as we celebrate 100 years of art education and history of the Curtis Center here in Greenwood Village. We have lots of festivities planned in honor of this centennial celebration that we will share with you, as well as the story of how this historic building has shaped the arts and culture of our community since its beginning. It's a beautiful day here in Greenwood Village, and we are glad that you could join us for this very special event. Curtis School first became a landmark in 1901 when Mary J. Curtis donated the land for the construction of a one-room schoolhouse. The clapboard building housed children in 1st through 8th grades who studied at the school with no electricity, running water, or indoor plumbing. Evelyn Springer, a student at Curtis School in 1927, recalls life during the school's early times. Can you tell us what it was like then?
We didn't have a room downstairs, you know. We had to go through the furnace room to get to that class. All the boys were ornery, if you want to know that. Tried to pull your hair if they sat behind you. I had just enough of it one time. Stood up and whacked him good on the head, my book. And the teacher just looked at me, Mrs. Bird, I think it was.
Mrs. Bird?
And just looked at me. I sat back down.
As the community began to grow, so did Curtis School. Many modifications were made to the building, including new classrooms, an artesian well, and a kitchen to accommodate more students.
There weren't very many kids at that time, you know. There was 3 or 4 in a class, and we were in classes like 1st, 2nd, 3rd was in one room, 4th, 5th, and 6th was in another room, and then 7th, 8th was in another room.
When you come back to it, does it bring back memories?
Oh yeah, but it's nothing like when we went to school here. So, you know, it's changed a lot.
I'm here with Eleanor Nesselrode. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mayor.
Can you tell us about the stories you remember having been here in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade? Do I have that right?
Yes, sir, you do. I was privileged enough to have all 3 teachers. I had Mrs. Shack, Mrs. Bishop, and Mrs. Frederickson as teachers. When I started, 1st and 2nd grade was Mrs. Shack, and I believe we're in her classroom right now. The school, since it got moved, is oriented 90 degrees from what it was. Mrs. Frederickson's room was right there, and Mrs. Bishop's room was downstairs.
What are your thoughts on the city having preserved the school?
I'm absolutely delighted. This is a part of my history, and my family gets to come by and see it.
Good. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
I'm here today with Mr. Rodney Pinkney. Mr. Pinkney, can you tell us when you attended Curtis School?
I attended Curtis School in 1943 and 1945. It sort of coincided with, in 1945, with the end of the World War II. And that seemed to be sort of etched in my mind the end of that war and my attending this school and the friends that I had around here at that time celebrating that end.
In 1967, Curtis School closed because it did not have a gymnasium. One of Curtis School's teachers, Harriet Aspegren, remembers the day the doors closed and the devastating impact it had on the entire community.
I moved to the area in 1963. I took Mrs. Fredrickson's place and got into the most wonderful school that could ever exist any place. Everybody was so interested in the school, and everybody really had an interest and a concern and a commitment to everybody around. I knew what it meant to the community to close the school. I sure knew what it meant to me to have the school closed. It was a very heartrending time.
For the next 20 years, Curtis School remained a gathering place for community meetings and events. In 1987, it faced another challenge, the threat of being torn down. Village and community leaders worked to preserve the school building. In 1991, the school was dedicated as the Curtis Arts and Humanities Center. On May 3rd, 2014, Greenwood Village celebrated 100 years of its educational tradition. Our festival is open, but before we open, I need to make some introductions. The first introduction is probably the most important one of all, because she has been with us, with the city, running the Curtis Arts and Humanities Center for many years. I'm not going to say how many, because I'll get in trouble. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, can I have a big hand of applause for Joe Cole?
I need to thank you for having this place here, for having a management and city management people who respected and kept it in its place. You have a lot of history here, and we have a lot of history to make, so go for it.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, this building is 100 years old, as you all probably know. I am not, you need to know that. It was built in 1914 and is now 2014. I said thank you up there, I mean that sincerely. I want to thank the city for allowing this building to be here and allowing me to work here, because I love it, I love what I do. We saw the future in this building. It is history, but it's also alive, and there's going to be more history in this building.
Well, it's incredible. To have an institution like the Curtis School still be available 100 years after it was first built, it's just an incredible experience, and we in the council are just happy to be a part of it. I think it's just a marvelous opportunity for the community. It started out as a grammar school, grade school, and it's still institutional learning, as you said. We have art classes here, art exhibits, just like we're having right now, and then events like this Curtis celebration.
Present generations of villagers can still see visions of Curtis School children playing and families picnicking. The tradition lives on as the Curtis Arts and Humanities Center. It continues to bring arts and cultural experiences to the community, and it will do so for many generations to come.
Well, the Arts Council's goal for this facility is to continue to support it in the types of activities that it's already been part of. We want to make sure it's preserved for education, and especially in the arts. We want to see more people take advantage of it because it's a great opportunity for everybody involved.
Most of the artwork we've seen here in Lone Tree today is permanent, but others like this are part of a rotating exhibit in Douglas County. To learn more, visit douglas.co.us/art encounters. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Connected Colorado.